I'm lying in bed next to someone who I'll call my wife, but tomorrow, I know there will be someone different waking up next to me. My current wife will be dead by tomorrow afternoon, and I will end the evening dying in a fiery car crash. I know this is to be true because it has happened to me 112 days in a row. The markings on the bed frame prove it. The best way to describe the first 25 years of my life is a mixed bag. I would like to say I lived a normal and uneventful life, but there was always bizarre accidents that seemed to change the course of my life. Events that, reflecting on now, were precursors to me being trapped where I am today. It feels surreal writing this, but I have no idea where else I can turn. I will start from the beginning. I have plenty of time. My wife won't wake up for another, at the point of writing this, 2 hours, and I have an unlimited amount of days to continue my story. If you're a fan of the movie Groundhog Day, or the film franchise Final Destination, my story is similar to both of those. My wife, Cassie, and I died 112 days ago on vacation. We had been together since freshman year of college, but I met her when I was 6. We grew up together and didn't really spend any time apart until high school. In high school, we both started dating other people, and not each other because we didn't want to mess up our friendship. I was dating a girl named Katie, a tall brunette with deep chocolate eyes and a single dimple in her right cheek that was absolutely perfect. She was a very sweet girl, and we got along super well and had a lot of common interests. Cassie was dating a jerk named Mark that was super abusive. Mark and I were always getting into heated arguments. I had finally convinced Cassie to dump Mark, but she thought that meant I was going to break up with Katie. I really liked Katie and had no intention of breaking up with her. Therefore, Cassie and I had a short falling out between the start of junior year and halfway point of our senior year. During my senior year, Katie and I were still doing very well together. We hadn't even ever had a fight. We were going to start attending university together after graduation, but tragedy struck Katie and her family. Katie's father was killed in a car accident. Katie's father was driving back from his medical practice. He was a psychiatrist, and he was forced off the road by an old school red Ford truck. The police said he hit a tree head on and died instantly. The driver ended up being Mark, Cassie's ex. He was drunk driving at the ripe age of 18. He lost his license and was sent to prison. Katie wasn't the same after, and I don't blame her. She and I split up halfway through our senior year and decided to attend different colleges. I slowly became closer to Cassie again, and the night of graduation, I found Cassie and asked her if she wanted to try dating. She said yes, and was excited beyond belief. We dated all through college and got engaged and married after graduation. We've been married 4 years now, and things had been going great until our accident. Every summer we went out west. This time we were staying at a small bed and breakfast in the mountains. We decided to just take a long drive around the mountain in the early afternoon when the incident happened. There was a bend in the road, and we were driving on the outer half of it. There was a blind spot around the bend. We were about to make the turn when, seemingly out of nowhere, a red Ford truck appeared in the center of the road, forcing us against the guardrail. We hit the guardrail and scraped the side of it, avoiding the truck. Sparks shot up off the car, and screeches of metal against metal shook the car. The guardrail gave way. It all happened so fast. We went over the edge of the mountainside and down the hill into a forested ravine. The car flipped end over, and we hit a tree head on. I looked over at Cassie and immediately knew she was dead. She had a tree branch for her trachea. I sobbed and screamed trying to get her, but my legs were pinned at the front of the car and were caved in. I smelled gas, and there was smoke coming from the destroyed engine. I grabbed a shard of glass from the windshield and started to saw at my pant legs, trying to escape the wreckage. My pant legs ripped and blood started to soak into my jeans as I tried to tear the fabric away, hoping that it would free my legs. Despite my best efforts, I was trapped. I resigned myself to our fate as I looked over at my wife one last time. However, I didn't see her face. Where her face should be was a blurred image like the kind you see on TV as a kid when they didn't want you to see inappropriate content. I thought I was going crazy and started clawing at my eyes, rubbing them in order to see Cassie one last time. The car caught fire and I sat there screaming for help. I was instantly consumed by the flames. I then woke up in the room at the bed and breakfast Cassie and I were staying at. I prayed this was all a bad dream. I rolled over to see if Cassie was next to me. She wasn't. There was a woman I had never seen before in bed next to me. This woman had short blonde hair and was laying perfectly still and flat like you see in a mattress commercial. Despite being in a bed with a random stranger, that had to be the creepiest part. It was like she was a doll. I jumped out of the bed and ran out of the room. I went to call Cassie, but I couldn't find her number in my phone. Odd, but I had been having issues with my contacts on my phone lately because it was a work phone that constantly forced updates. I tried to dial her number by memory and heard the inactive number message. I tried a couple more times in case I punched in the wrong number. No luck. I opened Facebook hoping to message her. I noticed my profile picture was different than it was before. I enlarged it and saw myself at a wedding getting married to the woman I had never seen before. It was the woman that was sleeping in my bed. I thought this was some sick joke, but when I tried to think of Cassie, my mind kept going blank. I checked all of my social media accounts and I was married to this woman in all of them. I couldn't find a single piece of evidence that Cassie ever existed. I opened my wallet hoping to find a photo of me with Cassie, but again, it was a photo of me and this strange woman. I put my back against the wall outside the room and slid down until my butt hit the floor. I put my head in my hands and cried. I had every memory of my entire life left, including all the ones with Cassie, but I couldn't remember what she looked like. My head felt like it was filled with cement anytime I tried to think of what she looked like. The room door opened, room 502, and out walked a mysterious woman. She asked if I wanted to go for a drive. Super flustered, I asked what was happening and she just smiled and motioned for me to follow her. She led me down to the car which I thought I had totaled and she jumped into the passenger seat. The entire drive, an accident repeated itself. We were making a bend when around the corner, a red Ford truck was driving in the center of the road, forcing us against the guardrail. We hit the guardrail and scraped the side of it, avoiding the truck, and the guardrail gave way. We went over the edge of the mountainside and down the hill into a forested ravine. The car flipped over and we hit a tree head on. I waited for the car to catch fire. It eventually did, and I again was consumed by the flames. I then woke up in my room at the bed and breakfast. I looked to my right and there was another strange woman there. This woman had long reddish brown hair that was extremely curly. I got out of bed and sat in the chair that was in the corner of the room. I checked all of my social media. All of the photos were the same as yesterday, but with one glaring difference. The blonde-haired woman from yesterday was replaced by the redhead from today. I shivered. The dates were advancing, but my day had repeated itself twice already, and I still didn't know what happened to Cassie. My day then repeats itself again. I went for a drive with the stranger, and I died once again in a fire. I marked the bed frame with my car keys the day before, and the mark was still there. I decided to add 2 more tallies. I have added 109 tallies since then. The day never changes. It was always a red Ford truck. Each day is exactly the same. I wake up, check social media, and see a different woman with me in my profile picture. The new woman enters the room, and then we get in a car accident. I know it might sound crazy, but I have such vivid memories of every single day. I can remember what each woman looked like, except my actual wife, Cassie. The days were still advancing as Cassie and I were on this vacation in May. I have started talking to the strange woman, and each one is unique in their own way. There are no similarities between them and Cassie. However, every single woman had one thing in common. No matter how many times I've asked a question, I always get the same response. The woman always smile and show a perfect dimple in the right cheek. Then they reply, "Katie."